Food insecurity in the United States has skyrocketed since the beginning of the pandemic, making it difficult for many food agencies to keep up with the increased demand. Today we look at this national concern on our local level with the first of a four-part series focusing on food ministries here in Western Massachusetts. Steve Kiltonic takes us to the Gray House in Springfield, where the nonprofit agency, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, is serving one of the poorest areas in the city and in the state.
From 2020 to 2022, many agencies across Western Massachusetts experienced an increased food demand, while at the same time having to cope with COVID-19, then the Delta variant, and more recently, the Omicron surge. According to the nonprofit Feeding America, 42 million people in the U.S., including 13 million children, likely experienced food insecurity in 2021. The national trend was reflected in the Springfield Diocese at 4 well-established food ministries, all of which receive funding from the annual Catholic Appeal, or ACA. A place where peace is lived and learned and hope is shared is the mission of the Gray House, which has been distributing food in Springfield's North End since it opened nearly 40 years ago by 4 Sisters of St. Joseph. Here, 45% of the residents live below the poverty line, which is 4 times the statewide average. The Gray House experienced a sharp increase in food demand in 2019, with those already struggling before the pandemic. Now, many new individuals and families on a limited or fixed income are showing up to receive food for the first time. Kristen McClintock, the Gray House's executive director, said the Gray House sees on average over 300 separate households come through its line during a 3-hour span. Job loss was a big factor in the increase among new families. And McClintock adds, food is one of the things people with limited funds trim first to pay for rent, gas, clothing, or their unexpected visit to the ER. For seniors, prescriptions are a priority.
But all of a sudden they found themselves without a job, without enough of a safety net to really catch them. And, they can only go so long on savings before it dwindles and you have bare cupboards, empty refrigerators, and you have kids asking what's for dinner and you don't have an answer.
In 2021, over 56,000 duplicate individuals were served through the market at Gray House every month. That's a 185% increase since before the pandemic began in 2019. During the pandemic, the Gray House transitioned its food program from an interior to a no-contact curbside model. Clients previously waited outside the pantry doors in the cold, snow, or rain, which created chaos in the small parking lot.
It might not look like a lot to most people, but this has been like a dream come true for us.
McClintock is talking about the Gray House's brand new heated pantry building constructed last year. Called the Outdoor Market, the house doubled the original pantry space and simplified the whole food distribution process, making it seamless and safer for everyone.
It keeps our volunteers nice and safe as they're bagging and sorting. They're separated, which is great because that's really important right now. It keeps all the food close to where we're distributing. So we have freezers to keep all the perishable items nice and cold and safe until we can give those out to the community members. And it just makes our volunteers' job a lot easier. It's only a few steps from where we're serving.
Volunteers begin to prep food and bag on Wednesday as well as on the day of distribution, which runs every Thursday from 9 a.m. until 12 noon. It's all made possible by the hundreds of volunteers throughout the year. In addition to the regular volunteers, today students from the UMass nursing program are helping out as part of their community service for the spring semester.
On any given distribution day, we might have 10 to 20 volunteers bagging, sorting, out there distributing to families, running back and forth to make sure supplies are refilled as needed. So we really, really rely on them, and they are an amazing group of people from all walks of life and who care so much about what we're doing.
McClintock said food comes from several agencies in the community, and a variety is given out to create a balanced menu.
We'll have protein, things like beans and rice, peanut butter, fresh meat. We always try to include produce if we're able, so we work really closely with the Food Bank of Western Mass and other agencies like Loving Spoonfuls and Rachel's Table, and they provide us with rescued food from local area grocery stores.
And the ACA also figures prominently in the Gray House budget.
Support from the Catholic Appeal, that's been instrumental in helping us not only to kind of meet that increased need, but also to expand our services, because we are seeing pockets of vulnerable populations which we know we need to better serve. So individuals like senior citizens and veterans, migrants and refugees.
The curbside process is quick and efficient in handling all the families and keeping the line moving. IDs are not required. First-time visitors need to fill out only an intake form for basic information required for the food bank and the USDA. Individuals walking to the market have a separate waiting line.
One of our goals for this upcoming year is to increase our free choice, so allowing people to have a little more option on what they decide to pick and what they can have for food.
McClintock added that she hopes this spring will see a farmer's market-style table offering fresh produce.
We work with, again, local farms, and if they have leftover produce, they bring them to us, and then the community members can come and just kind of pick and choose like you would at a farmer's market, which is really nice.
She said the only silver lining during the pandemic was discovering a new way of distributing food.
We love this system, and our clients love this system. They've told us time and time again they're waiting less time, they feel like it's more dignified, it's more private, which I think is really important for a lot of people. So going forward, this is the way we're going to operate.
McClintock believes it's important to make everyone feel comfortable.
We're out there, we're greeting them, we want them to know they're welcome here, and we want to provide them with those resources they need so they can succeed.
Next week, in part 2 of our series, we'll feature Lorraine's Soup Kitchen and Pantry, which recently launched a new mobile food pantry in Chicopee. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
For those working families who can't make the Thursday food distribution day, the market at the Gray House is also available on the 2nd and 4th Fridays of the month from 4 to 6 p.m. And the Gray House is just one of more than 40 ministries and agencies across Western Massachusetts benefiting from your support of the annual Catholic Appeal, including the Catholic Communications Ministry, which brings you this program each week. During Lent, Bishop Byrne respectfully asks parishioners throughout the diocese to prayerfully consider making a donation to the annual Catholic Appeal. You can make that donation right now online heading over to diospringfield.org/ACA.